And this is what I really look like before coffee. Do you like my PJs? They're pretty cool. They actually fit in the main decor. Welcome to Senior Insights. My name is Cynthia, and I hope you have your coffee because you're going to need it. Oh, I was just noticing my mug. I'm telling you, I told you I have serious problems. Someone asked me if I would show you my mugs that I drink my coffee out of. Well, as you can see, this is a Christmas mug. I don't collect mugs. I use whatever I have, and if it gets cracked, I throw it out. And occasionally, I'll buy a seasonal one, like I have 2 Easter ones, and I have 4 of the Christmas ones because I like the shape of it and the size of it. But I don't have a whole collection of mugs. But you know who does? Is Gina at Simply Heart and Home. So if you want to see a collection of mugs, she has beautiful ones. She has big ones, flowery ones, mushrooms, birds, all that. But anyway, this is Simply Insights. So I wonder, how did you like the picture of me with bedhead? Pretty awesome, huh? It's that wonderfully tousled look. That scares the person who looks at you if you're fortunate enough to have someone to look at you. It's kind of cute. It's kind of a mess. It's kind of ugly. But anyway, that's what I look like for the most part when I wake up. And then how did you like the jammies? I have seen other people actually record their videos in their pajamas. Now, I am weird, but I'm not that weird. But then again, I just recorded that with my pajamas. Do you like those black and red stripes? That's very Maine. All the men wear those black and red plaid. I said stripes, didn't I? It's in the back of my mind. It's plaid and it's really soft. Someday I'm going to tell you the story of the pajamas, but I can't right now because I had something else in mind. Obviously, I wanted to talk about hair. Now, some of us are fortunate enough to have hair. Some people are not because they're undergoing chemotherapy and they've lost all their hair, or they have that disease called alopecia. Is that what it is? I'm not sure, but if I'm wrong, I'm sure you'll let me know. So those of us who have hair are very fortunate because not everyone does. I'm talking about the hair on the head, not other parts of the body, because I have a lot of issues with that, which we're going to talk about another time. I have so many things that I want to talk to you about that I could do 5 videos a day, but my throat won't handle it. And I do have to do some work around here. I mean, this house is like falling apart around me. I haven't done any spring cleaning outside whatsoever. It's not your fault. It's the weather has been so awful that I can't get out. And then it's sort of your fault too, because I'm hooked on this channel and I'm hooked on you folks. Now I got off the track about hair again. Telling you. So, how do you get bedhead anyway? I have tried everything in my power to get over bedhead. I never wake up looking like this. It's like this. I lay on my left side most of the time. I would say 95% of the time I'm on my left side. So when I get up, it's shooting up and it's flat, and sometimes I can't comb it back. I don't like to wash my hair every day. If you watch my videos, you'll see the hair deteriorate. Day 1, day 2, day 3, I wash my hair. So that's the hint if you're wondering if my hair is deteriorating along the way. That's why. And don't tell me that I don't wash it enough or I can wash it every week. If I wash it every week, it would be bad. But my mother used to go to the hairdresser once a week, and she'd have her hair done, and it would last the whole week. Now, I never got up close to really check it out. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. But she used to wrap toilet paper around her head first. And then she used to wear like a sleeping cap, kind of like a shower cap, but it was a little prettier, you know. And remember, the women in old days, they used to wear hats to bed. How weird is that? Wearing a hat to bed. A lot of people do. Why? Their head's cold. If you're bald, then your head's cold. You lose most of your heat through your hair. But I'm getting off. I'm talking about bedhead. Some of the other cures for bedhead is to use a satin or a silk pillowcase. Well, that doesn't work either. Don't let those ads fool you because they don't work. I've tried them. I don't have a silk one, but I have a satin one. My hair still sticks up, so I gave up on that. I gave it to Goodwill because I thought it was false advertising. So, because it didn't work. It just didn't work. I still had bedhead. But let's talk about some of the things that we used to do with our hair. I want to see who remembers these things. I have to look at my list because I want to make sure I touch everything. Do you remember as a child you had the bangs straight across your head and they were down probably to here? I had a babci, which is Polish for grandmother, and when she would watch me, she would cut my hair. My mother would go crazy because she would say she didn't want it to get in my eyes. Well, if she could see me now, she would be cutting my hair. What about the afro? I used to do that, and I remember I had a brother-in-law that used to have his hair permed and done in an afro. It was kind of cool. It was a symbol for black people of pride and identity. But I jumped ahead of myself because I wanted to talk about some of these other things that we can experience. Do you remember when you had your first permanent? Or maybe you didn't, but I did, and I remember it very well. My friend, Anne, not this one that I usually talk about. This is the one that I had a grudge with a long time ago. Anyway, her aunt used to be a hairdresser, and she had a salon up in the second or third floor of one of those downtown buildings, you know, the old brick buildings, the old storefronts in the downtown areas of downtowns. Well, she had one, and I went up there. My mother took me, and I had a perm. Well, I never had another one of these perms, but I don't remember how it came out or anything. But it was the strangest thing. She put your hair in the rods, but they were hooked up electrically to a machine. So you had all these tentacles hanging out of your hair. Does anybody remember that? Did anyone ever have a permanent like that? I thought that was really kind of scary for a little kid. I don't know how old I was because I don't remember a lot of things. But I remember the name of that hairdresser. Her name was Peggy. And she was my friend's aunt. And my friend's mother's name was Margaret. Go figure. I couldn't pass the cognitive test. Let's see. We talked about pin curls another time, and a lot of people piped in and said that they used to do pin curls, and some said that they still do pin curls. I believe, I don't know, but I saw one of the women that I went to high school with, and a couple of years ago, and she obviously looked like she did pin. I didn't ask her, but she looked like she did pin curls in her head. It was all these crinkly curls. But I remember that. You put one in and then you cross it with another one. I don't remember how I looked when I did the pin curls though. But probably not good, because as a kid I never felt like I looked good. I could have been a raving beauty and I still felt like I looked awful. Did you ever use the orange juice cans, the frozen cans, to curl your hair? Imagine sleeping on those. Then they used to have these hard plastic rollers, pink, and they were so hard, and you had them all over your whole head, and you had to sleep in those. Who invented that? Who thought that was cool? I don't know. I'm getting off track because these were supposed to be integrated with other hairstyles. I'll get to the hairstyles. You'll have to fill in the blanks because I got out of sequence. Too bad. Do you remember the sponge rollers, the pink sponge rollers? It's funny because I remember those, and I remember the center of the roller got squished eventually because that's where most of the hair went, and then you snap the thing over. Those were a little easier to sleep on, but they're still pretty weird. Did you ever go downtown or in public with your rollers? It was a cool thing to do. You put a kerchief on and you tied it in the back and you walked around with your curlers. Come on. Somebody's got to remember that. If you go to Walmart, you still might see it occasionally. But it was I don't know if it was a status symbol or a symbol of how stupid you were, but we used to go downtown in our rollers. What about hair nets? Now, I never really used a hairnet, but I can remember my bocce. She had a hairnet, and her hair was very thin. She put on probably 5 or 6 hairnets, and she had stuff stuffed in it, so it looked like she had more hair. Now that's desperate to be noticed of how attractive you are. I don't know what she had stuffed in them, but she did. She had multiple hairnets that she wore every day. And then hair caps to sleep in. Well, I think I mentioned that before. The colonial women used to wear hats to bed, and the very I can't think of the name, sorry. They used to sleep in them anyway. The colonial women, did I already say that? So, remember the French twist? I think that's really a very attractive hairstyle. I could never pull that off though. I don't know, it just never worked. Oh, that's reminding me, the hairpins. Remember how you used to put the hairpins in to stick the French twist in? And what else? Afro. The feathered hair, like Farrah Fawcett, I think was the one. Yeah, Farrah Fawcett. A shag. Remember a shag? I remember that. That was popularized by Stevie Nicks. I know the name, but I couldn't tell you who Stevie Nicks is. I don't know if it's male or female. But that style of hair was kind of honoring Stevie Nicks. How about the short pixie style? I bet you don't know who that was modeled after. Well, I'll tell you anyway, so you can wait a few minutes and I'll tell you. It was Twiggy. Remember Twiggy? And it was Twiggy. It was Twiggy. Remember? Just look in your high school yearbook. And you will have the hoot of a lifetime, because you will not believe that you actually wore those hairdos are so bad. But they weren't then, were they? What about the big head where your hair was all teased up? You teased it up, and then you had this roll. I think my high school picture has that. I didn't look before I did these, but I think that my high school picture has the roll all the way around and the hair is like this. Do you remember the rag curls? I remember the rag curls. I never had rag curls. Well, I don't know if that's totally true. I have the feeling that I remember my mother doing my hair in rags. But there was one girl that I went to school with that she always had the rag curls, the long curls. And kind of interesting, actually. A kind of unique way to curl your hair, kind of a special way. I talked about rollers, then they had electric rollers too. Remember those? I know they still have them. Now they have, well, curling irons, but even curling irons, now you have to pay $150 for a curling iron because there's some super duper model or the name on them or something. Who would pay that much money for a curling iron? I have a curling iron under my bathroom sink just in case I get the urge to curl my hair. I have a lot of things just in case. Then I have a straightener because everybody else, these are just recent purchases, not the curling iron, I've had that for years, but the straightener. I said, well, then there's got to be something to having a straightener, so I got a straightener. Well, my hair's straight already. But they like it like really, the people that use it, they like it compressed and straight. So let's see what other, I talked about perms. I shared with you my first perm. I used to get perms every 3 months, I think it was, because I was doing the afro look, and then I was convinced that I could not have a decent haircut. I have to have some of my muffin. That I couldn't have a decent haircut my hair wouldn't look decent without a perm. So I would get a perm. So I did that for years and years and years. And to be honest with you, if they weren't the tight perms, really, mostly what I was looking for was body and making my hair look like something. Because my hair is as straight as a stick. It always has been. I have to take this muffin. I got to tell you the story of the muffin. The other day, I get a knock on the door. Mind you, I'm in my bathroom. I must have told you this. Anyway, this is the banana nut muffin, and it's really good. It's from Walmart, and I have the feeling that I'm going to have to figure out how to make this because it's really pretty good. You know those store-bought muffins, they have to be terrible for you because I can tell just by eating this that a lot of it is fake. And you know how I feel about fake, but this is pretty good. But you also know that there's a lot of oil or shortening or whatever they put in them. Who knows? They probably put motor oil in them. I don't know because I don't read the labels that much. I don't get hung up a lot on that stuff. I should, I know, because maybe I'll be able to do this channel a little longer. So anyway, remember the side ponytail? I never had my hair long enough to do a ponytail. Remember the bun? I always wanted to be an old woman. No, I didn't always want to be an old woman. But when I was an old woman, which I am now, I wanted to have long hair, which I also don't think old women should have long hair. I think they look better with short hair, but that's just my opinion. Because at one time I thought long hair was good too, so just hear me out. I like the long hair because you can put it in a ponytail. But with old women, I used to love this look. A bun really low to the neck, a denim skirt, black tights. I can't tell you what I thought about for a blouse, but I love white Oxford shirts. I don't own any because I get ring around the collar and I get ring around the cuffs. Does anyone ever wonder, I'm sorry, does anyone ever, I have to say this because it came to my mind, does anyone ever wonder how men, or even women that wear those Oxford shirts, how they don't get facial grease on the collars? Or women, how they don't get makeup on the collars if they wear makeup? And how do you not get black marks around the cuffs when you're working, when you're writing with pencils and you're reading papers? I don't know. Let me know, because they must go through an awful lot of white shirts. They must have to buy new ones every time they wear them. What about boho braids? I'm not sure I really know what boho braids are, but I think they were braids that had plastic beads in them. Maybe kind of like, not dreadlocks, cornrows that people do now, but on a much less elaborate way. Anyway, I never had those, so I can't talk much about it. Then there's this thing called mall bangs. I never heard of this one either. You had huge, stiff bangs. That was an 80s trend. And then there was feathered braids. I have to go because Quinny needs to go out. Quinny, come here. Hi, sweetheart. Now we have to listen to her drinking. She's awful cute, though. She's a good dog for the most part. I didn't tell you. Remember I told you that my yard was full of dog poop? Well, yesterday I went out and I did half of the yard. So I put it all in piles, and then I'm going to have to probably fill at least 3 5-gallon buckets. Is that too much information? I know most of you people have dogs that just poop Tootsie Rolls. Anyway, I'm going to thank you for watching this video. I want you to reminisce, though. Think about the hairstyles. And look in your yearbook. Look in your yearbook and see. You'll get a laugh. Dig it out if you know where it is. If you don't, just go online and Google 60s and 70s pictures, hairstyles. I didn't do that myself when I was doing this thing. I should have. Do as I say, not as I do. Thank you very much for watching this. Please like and subscribe. We're almost at 7,000 subscribers, but we need to get more.